Hey y'all, CB here, and I'm the No BS welder at NBS Welding. We're rolling in the super service truck, peeling out of the shop right now. Got a couple field jobs we want to knock out today. I'm going to try to get a lot done today. Kind of in a bind and way behind, willing to make a deal. I got a little bit of a blessing in disguise. There was a buddy of mine that was supposed to bring me a tri-axle dump truck, put a hitch on yesterday, and he had trouble with the truck, which is definitely unfortunate. He couldn't get it to me, and the way it worked out, as soon as that happened, my phone started ringing and a bunch of other jobs come up. So what we're trying to do today, years ago, a couple of guys hired me to build them a 60-foot iron bridge. Situation with that, if you're new to the channel, I'll try to remember to, in the description of this video, I'll put a link to the bridge build. It's a longer video, so it'll take you a little while to watch it. But I built a 60-foot iron bridge, and these guys that have me build that bridge, they don't like the half-ass shit. You know, when I asked them, I said, well, what do you want to drive across the bridge? They said, we want to be able to drive a loaded concrete truck across the bridge. I said, oh, you want me to build you a bridge then, Jack? And, oh yeah, build us a bridge. So that's what I did. So where we're going today to do a repair is on the property that is only accessible by that bridge that I built. So we're going to stop and take a look at the bridge. Now, what am I going to do there? What we've got that we're going to be fixing there is what you call, you know, sometimes when somebody's doing something, they might have an improper doozination. Usually an improper doozination, if you got an improper doozination, you've done an improper doozin as based on using the wrong plan or scheme. Now, what we've got that we're going to be fixing in this situation is not an improper doozination. It's what would be your basic oopsie poopsie. All right. So what happened? The guy was running a dozer up there, and he backed into the 6-inch casing to their water well. It's a steel casing. Now, obviously, if you bent over a piece of steel well casing, water well casing, where it was sticking out of the ground, a lot of people would just go get a Fernco fitting and a piece of 6-inch PVC and screw on there and just make it plastic, you know, cut off the bent part and go plastic. These guys don't want that. They don't want something there they got to worry about somebody accidentally hitting it with a lawnmower or something and messing it up. Now, obviously, even 6-inch steel casing, if you hit it with a bulldozer, yeah, you're going to mess up the casing, and that's what happened. We're going to be putting a piece of steel pipe on there. We're going to be cutting off the bent piece of steel pipe that the guy bent when he done that oopsie poopsie, and we're going to be welding a piece of steel pipe on there, because these guys, they don't want a piece of plastic there where somebody's just going to, you know, hit it with a lawnmower and ding it up or anything like that. They want a piece of steel welded on it, and that's what we're going to do for them. After that, we're going to try to get out of there as quick as we can, get that done, and roll on to Fairmont, to a Walmart in Fairmont, West Virginia, where there's a busted cart corral. So that would be galvanized steel. So as far as the welding today, there's a couple things I was thinking about this morning coming back from the gym. I was thinking, is there any of my Arc Captain machines that I have not taken in the field? And there actually is one of them. The MiG 205 Pro has not been taken on a field job. And I was thinking, well, on this well casing and this cart corral, would you want to use the 205 Pro? And I thought, yeah. And what I want to do is I want to do some mobile welding with solid MIG wire. And that means I need to pick a diameter that'll do it all. And the do it all diameter for solid MIG wire, as far as I'm concerned, is 30 thousandths. If you got 030 solid MIG wire and a mixed gas, you can weld shit together that goes all the way down to being as thin as razor blades, as thick as 1/2-inch plate. We're going to be playing here on the channel. I've been playing here on the channel. When I built that dumbbell, I was playing with some 045 wire. That's pretty big for solid wire. I've also got some 023 that we might play with that's super small. Those are wires that I picked up at Harbor Freight because I got a real good sale on it. The price per pound was really low on those, and I grabbed a couple 11-pound spools of that. But we're going to be running 30 thousandths P3 solid MIG wire today in the Arc Captain MIG 205 Pro, and it's going to be the first time that I took the MIG 205 Pro in the field. What I normally use in the field and have been using lately is the original Arc Captain MIG 200, which is the machine that pretty much stays in the toolbox of the Super Service truck. And I pretty much keep 035 flux core, Arc Captain flux core wire. Arc Captain flux core wire is my favorite flux core. I've even compared it to the Lincoln NR211 that I used to like the best, and I like the Arc Captain better. The other really good flux core wire would be Hobart, Fab Shield 21B. So, I don't want this talking part to run too long, just throwing information at you while I'm thinking about it. And let's get to the job and get on this stuff. I got a couple days worth of welding work that I'd like to knock out in the next 8 to 10 hours if possible. So, come along, let's get it done. So this was 2022. When we built this bridge. That's a plate that I'd welded NBS welding on in the year, and we set it in the concrete. What we got here, we got 8 inches of concrete. I got 1-inch rebar, 12 inches on center in a grid, and throughout that entire bridge. And if we come down here and take a look at our structure underneath here, this is the steel that I built for the bridge. The most of the structure is 16-inch I-beams. So we've got 5 16-inch I-beams making the 60-foot span. And then we've got 2 towers on concrete pillars fabricated out of 5-inch drill pipe. This pipe is about 5/8 inch wall, and it being drill pipe of a really high tensile strength is extremely corrosion resistant also. Very high tensile steel. Setting on these concrete pillars down underneath of here, and it's got Q decking setting on top of those 16-inch I-beams, and I plug welded that Q decking to the top of the I-beams. And then we've got smaller I-beams running across as support for the 16-inch beams. And then the base of the pillars here, I've got 14-inch channel laid down, and it's filled completely full of concrete. So this is a look underneath of the bridge. Bridge has been here since 2022, and it was a really good job. I'll put a link in the description if you want to watch the full bridge build video. It'll be there for you. Now, we're getting back to the job we're here to do, and there's the dozer that did the oopsie poopsie. And this is a water well right here, and I'll pull this cone off and you can take a look. See, this is the oopsie poopsie that happened. This is their water well, 6-inch casing. Been hit by that dozer, so we got to do a little fixing there. And first part of it, I had just got the dirt and the mud and the rust off of it. The hole could have been probably dug out a little bit deeper. The distance down that I had to cut off to get rid of the damaged pipe was quite a ways down. But the blessing here is having that MIG gun. I got out my wraparound and I used the wraparound to make me a mark where the casing was good, getting rid of all the dented and damaged casing. And I got out the oxyacetylene torch and I got out the piece of pipe that I brought to put on there. Getting out the Arc Captain MIG 205 Pro. I'm going to use 30 thousandths solid MIG wire. And got my torch out and I'm going to clean my tip. I like a good clean tip for oxyacetylene cutting. You really can't cut with a dirty tip. If you got a dirty tip, you're not cutting, you're melting. We don't want to melt, we want to cut. We want that oxygen to pierce through there and get her done. So I cut that thing off and then just cleaned it up with a grinder. And at this point in the game, I should have known, because I've dealt with this before where there's a difference in line pipe and casing, but I went to set it on there thinking it was going to be the same size. And I realized that the pipe I have is a line pipe, which is 6 inches on the inside, and well casing that's 6 inches on the outside. Well, it was close enough that it's going to work and it's no problem to put it on there. My only problem was when I set it on there, it was trying to overlap and go all the way down to the dirt. So my solution was to take the MIG and I put 3 tacks on the side of that casing. And those tacks, what the tacks did, it made it so that when I set the pipe on there, the tacks made my casing big enough that it would stop the pipe from sliding all the way down. So I cleaned up a place on the pipe where I could put my ground clamp. That's really important with all welding, but it's especially important with MIG welding. You really need to get a good solid ground. And so I cleaned up a place with a grinder. I got my level and I got the thing leveled up, making sure it was good. And then this is where, as close to the ground as this welding was, if you were stick welding this, man, it'd been a nightmare. And doing this with a gun is a piece of cake. Like taking candy from a kid. There was nothing to it. I welded right around. And we're not going, this don't have to be no x-ray quality stuff. I'm just basically making an overhead fillet weld. And you probably, in this case, to be honest, you wouldn't even have to weld all the way around it. And I did weld all the way around it. But you could put probably, I would say, if you were in a hurry and you put 3 tacks on this that were spaced equally 1.5 inches apart, it would have worked just fine. I went ahead and welded all the way around it, and I'm going to call it good. Well, here we are at the Walmart. Out in the parking lot, and we're looking for some kind of a issue with a cart corral. I think we found it. I think you can see the doozinz that we got to get done right here. That's not supposed to be like that. That's not supposed to be like that. And that's not supposed to be like that. So I have to do some fixing. All right then. Pretty obvious what we got to do as far as what's going to have to be welded. I'm not exactly sure at this point what it's going to take to do it. But I know that I need to get out the Arc Captain MiG 205 Pro, hook it up to the power, hook up the shield gas, and this is a case where I'm definitely going to need my ladder. A ladder like I carry on the Super Service truck, it seems to be not a lot of welders carry a ladder, and that's something I've run into a lot. I use the heck out of my 6-foot step ladder, and I just can't imagine being without it. And another thing that I notice is there's a lot of welders that don't have a roof rack on their truck, and they can't haul, any material on top of their truck. Like I can take 20 foot, 24 foot, 30 foot stuff and set it on top of my truck rack and haul it up and down the road. I don't understand why you don't see more of that. But what I did on this job, I got out a power brush. Now, in a lot of cases with galvanized, when it's thicker material, you would grind it because you'd want to try to remove some of that galvanizing. But you'll notice when the material's really thin, it's not that big a deal to burn through the galvanizing on it. And really, when you got material that's as thin as this pipe is, if you grind on it and you're grinding material away, you're making it thinner. You might be making it hard on yourself. So this is an occasion where I hit it with a power brush. There was, some debris and rust and whatnot that I was able to remove with a power brush, and that's all I did. And the way I went about welding this, I put it together, and there were places where it fit together, and there were places where it didn't fit together very good at all. And in the areas where it fit together pretty good, I made a few tacks, and then I used my little mini puller come along and squeezed on it and put some more pressure on it to squeeze it together. And I got it pulled pretty good. Now, there were some places where I still had some gaps, and you'll reach a point with stuff like that where you just got to wonder, can you fill the gap faster than you can put more time into it to close the gap? And there was some gaps here that were like that where I thought, I can fill that just as easy as I could put more time into trying to squeeze it together. So the way I went about welding it, filled my gaps up with tacks. And when I do that, I might not necessarily start at the top or start at the bottom. I would start in the middle and make a tack that bridges across the gap. And then I'd go up a little bit, make a tack, go below it a little bit and make a tack. So I would be making a series of tacks while moving around. And then once I've got it full of tacks, I run a bead over the tacks. Then I run a bead to the right side over that bead, run a bead to the left side over that bead. And in the case with this, where I'd done that much filling, I ended up running several downhill passes. Now, recently, a buddy of mine had asked me about it. He said there were so many people arguing with him about welding downhill and whether or not it was okay. And I said, in some applications, it's fine. You just got to think of it like, are you going to have problems with over penetration or under penetration? Because if you're going to have problems with over penetration, welding downhill is a solution. If it's a structural thing and under penetration could be an issue, that's when you definitely want to weld uphill. So, and there are certain, solid wire MIG is more acceptable for downhill welding. Pipe rod and 6011 is more acceptable. It's not common to weld downhill with a 7018, although there's times I've done it. But that's just a note on uphill or downhill, just my idea. So, got this welded up, got the gear back on the Super Service truck, and I'll give you a little closer look at it.